The Hyderabad twin blast shook the nation and exposed India's security lapses. As the probe into terror Thursday gathers steam, Headlines Today's reporters, correspondents from across the country pieced together the situation on the ground.
After the carnage of the blast, the Prime Minister visited the city today and met with the blast survivors. Meanwhile, the police of Hyderabad has expanded the scope of their eyewitness testimony and has in fact been calling in several youths from the old city of Hyderabad for questioning with regard to this blast.
Following the Hyderabad blast, investigation has revealed direct links with Karnataka as well. The NIA team will be here to question the terrorists who were arrested in connection with the 2008 Bangalore serial blast as well as those arrested last year. This apart, Karnataka is also under high alert with patrolling being increased in different sensitive locations like the Vidhan Sauda, Legislature Home and many other places. And it's not just Bangalore but even other districts in Karnataka, places like Hubli, Dharwad and Belgaum, which are under patrolling.
Maharashtra ATS is taking no chances and has launched a massive crackdown. The ATS is conducting search operation in coordination with other investigative agencies. In fact, they have already interrogated suspects in Nanded.
The police is on alert in the city and the NIA team is set to be flown to interrogate the two men arrested on the Indo-Nepal border. Even though the duo was carrying the footage of Secunderabad railway station with them, but no connection has been established between them and Hyderabad blast.
After the Hyderabad bomb blast, there is a heightened sense of security in the metro. Some more intelligence inputs have trickled in. In fact, today there was a specific intelligence input regarding the security of India Gate, and that time Delhi police had completely put a lockdown at this place. No vehicular traffic is allowed inside, even in the parkings. In Delhi, the police say there is a heightened sense of urgency, heightened sense of vigil and alert. All these things look very good on paper, but the real test of the security apparatus would be in making sure that there is no repeat of Hyderabad in any other metro of the country. With camera person Kashif in New Delhi, Ankit Tyagi for Headlines Today.
The twin blasts in Hyderabad have once again highlighted the need for better coordination of intelligence and information between the centre and the states. The state's fear remains interference from the centre and that the NCTC's powers will impinge on the state's powers. States which oppose the NCTC fear that the central body will usurp their power when granted leeway to arrest and prosecute.
विपक्ष को, तमाम राजनीतिक दलों को उन परिस्थितियों में देश के हितों को सामने रखकर विचार करना चाहिए.
We opposed a formation of National Counter-Terrorism Center earlier also, and we'll oppose it again.
कोई बहाना नहीं होना चाहिए, और जहां तक आतंकवाद का सवाल है, हर दल, हर पार्टी और देश के सभी लोग उसके खिलाफ हैं.
अगर जनरल नेचर का इंटेलिजेंस है तो उसका कोई बहुत अर्थ नहीं होता. स्पेसिफिक इंटेलिजेंस होता है तो वो एक्शनेबल इंटेलिजेंस होता है, यानी उस पर कोई कार्रवाई की जा सकती है. लेकिन एक जनरल नेचर का इंटेलिजेंस अगर हो तो ठीक है, ओवरऑल सजगता, सतर्कता हो सकती है, लेकिन उसमें बहुत ज्यादा पहले से एहतियाती कार्रवाई नहीं हो सकती.
And joining us now for more on this story and giving us perspective on what the various positions are on this issue, Saugata Roy, TMC leader, joins us from Kolkata, and also joining us tonight, Sanjay Jha, author and co-founder of Hamara Congress. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on Headlines Today. Let me come to you first, Saugata Roy. The initial concerns that states, including West Bengal, which actually led the opposition to the NCTC, was that it impinged on the federalism, the federal structure of this country. But do you not think that given the kind of terror threats that are looming with the latest Hyderabad blast, it is important now that states move beyond these narrow political concerns and look at the larger picture in national interest?
The Constitution of India is not a narrow political concern. It envisaged a certain framework in which law and order was assigned to the states. and police was entirely under the states. So, just because there has been a terrorism related incident, the whole framework of the constitution need not be upset.
Sir, but it is not just an isolated incident. There has been a steady rise in terrorist incidents, and clearly the present structure is not working, and there is a belief that there is a need for a central agency to counter terrorism in this country. It's a very real, clear and present danger that India is facing. The government has said it is willing to revise some provisions of the NCTC now in the wake of the Hyderabad blast. Will West Bengal, will the TMC be willing to once again support the NCTC if these provisions are revised?
See, the main objection to NCTC was that it impinged on states' rights. The NCTC framework gave the right to NCTC to arrest anybody from within any state. We think and we still feel that this infringes on the state's power. We are totally against terrorism. But being against terrorism does not mean that we surrender our powers. Just because a central agency is formed does not mean that terrorism will be controlled. The center already has the IB, the RAW, the CBI, the National Investigating Agency, the National Security Guards. All these organizations also keep an eye on terror. Suddenly, from the Congress and the UPA side, it is being said that the NCTC is a panacea, is a cure for all ills regarding terrorism. We do not agree. We feel that if the state government is sufficiently motivated, it can give support to the center in controlling terrorism.
All right, we take your point, Shogata Roy. You made a point. Let me in fact get in Sanjay Jha at this point in time. Sanjay Jha, do you not think that perhaps it is time now for an overarching counter-terrorism body, especially with what we saw happening in the case of the Hyderabad blast? There was so much of back and forth on the so-called sharing of intelligence, the MHA saying that they shared intelligence, the respective states saying that they got a very general advisory. Isn't there a need now more than ever to have one body, counter-terrorism body, which actually regulates the sharing of important intelligence in these cases?
Absolutely, Rukmani. Let me add to that you know, it's important at this point when Mr. Ray talks about the Constitution to recognize that when the Constitution was written, terrorism as a modern system of warfare was not anticipated. So the issue of bringing in the states' rights in terms of law and order actually should not be even talked about as a moral issue, because if the attack in Andhra Pradesh and Hyderabad is not an attack on the state. There's not an attack on Uttar Pradesh or Rajasthan, you know, it's an attack on the soul of India. And therefore, at these moments, if you look at the NCTC structure, it's actually, you're right, it's not going to be a single shot panacea to all the challenges. We'll still have to overcome them. But you need an apparatus, a body, which is one and centralized in command, which can attack the issue of terrorism, do the preemptive warfare that we need to anticipate, you know, all these issues of ensuring that intelligence does not go to waste because of poor coordination. And Rukmani, I would like to add one more technical point, because this is something that a lot of people keep asking over the last couple of days. Why are we forgetting that the NCTC is actually is been created, the powers have been given under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which has been passed by Parliament, and all political parties are, you know, are bound to adhere to it. And by the way, the National Investigating Agency as well has similar powers. So at this point, you know, there is a need for greater political maturity. And by the way, the government has also gone ahead and said that all the states' director generals of police will be represented in a standing council of the NCTC. So when it comes to terrorism, this is the last place on earth where the federalism argument should become a bone of contention, because when terrorists attack us, they don't care which state or which region, what language we speak, they attack India. And it's important that at this point, every political party shows flexibility.
Especially when the current political structure and the current administrative structure clearly is not capable of handling this kind of terror threat. We will come back to this issue in just a bit. I have some breaking news coming in. The Delhi Special Cell is on the hunt for IM sleeper cells in Delhi and North India. The hunt is on for Indian Mujahideen suspect Raju Bhai, who is expected to be key to tracking down the sleeper modules. This is the latest coming in on the ongoing investigation in the Hyderabad blast. It seems that a special cell is being hunted down by the sleeper cells in Delhi, the Indian Mujahideen sleeper cells, and there's one Raju that is that it seems is under the scanner. Also, more breaking news coming in. The opposition chief ministers are blocking the NCTC. That is what Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde is saying at this point in time. Of course, we all do know that NCTC has been a bone of contention between several states. Several state chief ministers had opposed the NCTC. Let's listen into what the Home Minister has to say.
I have already replied in Rajya Sabha, yes, I will pursue NCTC, but many states, the chief ministers are opposing that. I will have to still talk to them, and I requested them, those who are pursuing in the Rajya Sabha, I told them, but I have not disclosed the chief minister's name. They are from the opposition, not Congress.
Well, let me go across to Shogata Roy, who is with us, of course. Mr. Roy, what exactly is your concern, apart from the fact that you believe, the TMC believes that the NCTC will impinge on the federal structure of the constitution? There is a need, like we've been just talking about, of an overarching counter-terrorism agency and a body in light of these current incidents which are taking place. Clearly, the existing structure is not working. Aren't you willing to look at the revised provisions that the government is now offering?
Mr. Shinde is to be in Calcutta today, and tomorrow he will be travelling with the West Bengal Chief Minister to the Sundarbans as per present program. So he can talk with the West Bengal Chief Minister on this issue. But I do not, as I said earlier, that I do not think the NCTC, which is being strongly promoted by the Congress and the UPA, backed by a section of the media, is not a panacea for all problems concerning terrorism. See, in India we have more or less failed to check recurrence of terrorist threats, terrorist actions. In the US, no, I am explaining to you. In the US, after the 9/11 incidents in 2001, they set up a Department of Homeland Security, and that did not impinge on the states' powers. In America, fact, the states are much more powerful than
Fair
Indian
enough.
states.
You made a fair point. Let me. In fact, we are a little short on time, Mr. Roy. Let me toss that to Sanjay Jha. Shogata makes an important point. Homeland Security was set up in the US. There was no terror attack after that. However, Homeland Security is restricted to the sharing of intelligence and does not really have the powers of arrest and impinging on the state security like in the US. Do you think that kind of a model will work in India, Sanjay Jha?
Well, let me tell you, the fear has been by the states, and some of it can be legitimate as well, that it should not result in the states' process of their own investigations being disrupted, because if you give overarching powers where people are arrested and the state is not even advised about it, it might create its own problem. But I do believe that special situations require special solutions. Terrorism, by the way, is a grave national threat, and whether we like it or not, we got to accept in India that with a dangerous neighbor and a neighborhood that's constantly volatile is something that we need to be prepared for. But as I think I have heard already reports coming out from the government side that the NCTC is going to be a structure that will allow for information to be passed on to the different states about who they believe are going to be arrested, what are the court orders going to be, so that it works in conjunction with the state apparatus. But what is important is the passing of information, because even at state levels you'll have people in the intelligence working together. So I think it's important at this point to rise beyond parochial issues and not look at the center and state as adversaries, but as actually partners in attacking terrorism. I think that's how every citizen in India would like to want.
That's a very important point, Sanjay Jha. We'll leave it there for now. Totally out of time. Shogata Roy and Sanjay Jha, thank you very much indeed for talking to Headlines today.